Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight I have to check what day we're on before I say it wrong. We are on day 13, which is our lucky number tonight. Yes. So we're getting towards more than halfway through this condition, and I hope that each of you are feeling more connected to Mother's heart and Mother's words at this time. And we can go ahead and get started. The speech that we're reading today is the speech that Mother gave go ahead, Dave, you can come in. Oh, I locked the door so my children wouldn't come in, and now my husband can't come in. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're reading this section, just a small section of the speech that True Mother gave at the Peace Summit that happened earlier this May. And the reason that I wanted to read this is it's very interesting, kind of the roadmap that Mother gives about how she talks to world leaders and the world in general and a public audience. And it's a very clear roadmap. So as we read it, you can think about it like that, and then we'll share our reflections together. So to put it another way, through the true parents, the dream of our heavenly parent who has waited 6,000 years and the desire of all humankind can finally be actualized. This is that through the dedication of Chunwon-gung and the Chunil Sanctum, Heavenly Parent can reside directly with us. Many faiths have created temples where they can attend God. However, they have not understood the fundamental nature of the Creator. Heaven's circumstances in relation to the Korean Peninsula after 6,000 years. I know there are many religious leaders present today. To save humankind, God carried out the providence of salvation, and this is clearly in evidence in the Old Testament. Through the people of Israel, heaven sent the Savior whom God could call my Son, who would atone for the wrongs committed by fallen humankind. However, the Son alone is not enough. In accordance with the principles of creation, God created a man and a woman. The only begotten Son was unable to complete that task. The people of Israel, the Jewish leaders, and Mary, who gave birth to him, did not recognize the Messiah. In the end, he went to the cross, and before he died, Jesus promised to return. 2,000 years have passed since Christian history began with the disciples of Jesus anticipating his return. However, does Christianity understand the essence of heaven's providence? Yet a miraculous event has occurred on the Korean Peninsula through the true parents, as they are dedicating a temple from which the heavenly parent can directly govern the earthly world. So it really is a lot of points that Mother's making here. And again, my framing for this is that it's pretty fascinating to think about the audience that Mother's speaking to at this time. This is all the world leaders, from America. We had, Secretary Pompeo there, we had Paula White there, we had many of our high-level leaders there, and she's speaking to there were many, government leaders from African nations and from East Asian nations and Southeast Asian nations. It was a lot of people. I mean, people from China, Central America. Anyways, it's quite an amazing group of people, all high-level dignitaries. And this is what Mother has to say to them. And she doesn't hide anything. She says it very clearly that she's basically giving a snapshot of the providence of restoration in just a few sentences. And that's something I really love about Mother's leadership and Mother's way of doing things, is that she makes it simple, like talking to your children, right? When you have to retell the Bible stories, you have to keep it very simple. Here's the facts. Here's what you need to know. So here's what she says. She says, she's painting the picture of how important the time we're living in is, and Chunwon-gung and Chunil Sanctum, that through these buildings, this is what Heavenly Parent has waited for, And because of this building, Heavenly Parent can fully reside on earth with us. That's an important point for us to understand what the Chunwanggung really means. And she's talking about how there have been temples in many different religions and different traditions. And it's interesting because she starts to talk about the Korean Peninsula and kind of pauses on that topic and then kind of revisits it. And if you notice, Mother doesn't ever have notes when she speaks, right? She's just speaking from the heart, but it's very methodical. She knows what she wants to say. So there's something she wants to get to, and the Korea is the center of it. And then she starts to retell the story of how the Israelites prepared to receive the only begotten Son. These are the same things she says in almost any one of these public speeches. So this is kind of the essence of what she wants us to know. God sent his only begotten Son to Israel, but because the Son is not enough, there has, just like God made a man and a woman, there has to be an only begotten daughter, which we know that truth. And then she talks about the reality of what happened with Jesus, that the people didn't understand him, even his own mother didn't understand him, and that Christianity has been anticipating the return of Jesus. But she questions, does Christianity actually understand the essence of Jesus? Do they understand the essence of the providence? She doesn't exactly answer that question, but she asks that question. She plants that seed with the audience. And she concludes this section by talking about the emergence of true parents in Korea and building the Chunwanggung. And I wanted to kind of like bullet point that for all of us, because, you know, right now Mother is asking us to be very specific about what we're teaching and how we're witnessing to people. And in some of the rebirth content that I hope everybody's able to go through, Mother gives some clear direction that we shouldn't be teaching the old ways anymore. We shouldn't be teaching the old, you know, even completed Testament era content. We should be teaching Chanel-guk content, that there's new content, not necessarily new, but just evolved content that we have to focus on in Chanel-guk. And I've heard people wonder, like, okay, what does Mother want us to talk about? What does Mother want us to teach? But these public speeches that Mother gives in these kinds of settings, I think, are the perfect example of what we should be teaching. All you have to do is look at what Mother says in the public arena. That's the same content we should be teaching. So what do I get from that? I get the importance of Korea and the Chunwanggung. I get the, you know, principle of creation, that God created a man and a woman, and that God was able to send his only begotten Son in Jesus, but the daughter portion was not fulfilled. And because of that, Christianity didn't understand the true essence of the providence, and now we have true parents. It's like so simple, right? It's not super complicated. I mean, it is theologically, right, for new people who have never heard that before. But for us, can we ask ourselves, do you get those 5 points? Check, 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 check. Then if you really get that, then you are in line with what's on Mother's heart right now. There's so much more, right? But this is kind of the basic bullet points of what she wants the world leaders to know and what the religious leaders to know. So if we can really get it, we can practice just like I did, saying it and expressing it and making it make sense for me and tell that story, then we can be extensions for Mother and do that in our witnessing, do that in our talking with people, and not be afraid of it, right? Not be afraid of people misunderstanding it. If we talk confidently, if we practice it, if we know this is what your Mother's saying, this is what I should say. There should be no difference, right? I should be an extension of True Mother. Then I really believe Spirit World can surround us if we're really in line with what's on Mother's heart and what she's saying at this time. So for me, this is like my note cards, right? If I just bring that with me, then it's my cheat sheet of what I should be saying and teaching about. All right, so we are going to hear from some of our wonderful Subregion 3 ladies, both from the Chicago area. And I would like to first welcome our chairwoman from Chicago, Ruth Ava Kona, to share her reflection. Welcome, Ava.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Kaylee and family from all over America. Thank you No, that is, I mean, you're such an inspiration, Kaylee, and that's why I was just like also inspired to ask, for helping here in Chicago. And yeah, True Mother, she's really a visionary, and True Father. And True Father, I mean, I think it's very important for me when I look at True Father and True Mother, they were really so connected with God, and they were really receiving so much guidance from God. And so they really had a vision, from God, and they just kept it, right? They received the vision, and then they did step A, step B, and climbed up to higher and higher levels until they finally reached this position. And I know, I mean, realizing this, sometimes you have so many expectations of the leadership. Why is this not happening? And that, and I saw so many people, criticizing, but this is not good, to just criticize, because if God gives you something, right, and you see, oh my goodness, there needs to be a change. I think it's something that is also given to you from God. That's why you see that. And like for me, I'm so happy, for all the help that I get, because this is not granted, that Patricia, Sahara, and whoever is coming to help, I can't just take this for granted. I have to really, be the good example, even for myself, and be responsible before God, because if God gives me this vision, what am I going to do with this vision? And that's why I respect True Mother so much, because even after True Father passed, she had to, I mean, establish her own foundation and starting, I don't know, in many ways, almost from zero, and I know that it's not easy, to be accepted by male-dominated world. But like Angelica mentioned before, she said if the sisters can truly unify, and not be just to just be thinking about our competition, he is my competition. This is the problem nowadays in school, that people are just so competitive, and it automatically will trigger a fight, oh, he has more and he has better than me. And this is not what we want. We really want to be true sisters, and we want to help each other and grow, and see what God has in store for us, and truly become this kind of person that even God envisioned, right? When before he created us, he really envisioned himself living together with us, right, in our bodies, in our minds. And what struck me when I heard for the first time the principle, True Father said that God can't even enjoy the smell of a beautiful rose, even though he has created that. But without us, including God and having God within us, he can't even enjoy his own creation. And that's why Paul said, right, in the Bible, that creation is suffering and groaning and waiting, for the true children of God. So yeah, I think that, whatever I do, I want to just think about that and think, God is really to help and comfort you and true parents, true mother, especially at this time. So yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to share. That's kind of my heart and my motivation. Thank you so much, Kaylee, and God bless you all. Let's work together.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, especially this point about, we are the examples of our true parents too, and the culture we're creating, especially women in Women's Federation, right? That we should create this culture where there shouldn't be this kind of competition and pain and division, although there is, right? Ladies, we're not perfect, but we should be the ones who can break through and model that, because Mother has done that for us. She has really modeled the most difficult situations with this all-encompassing love and grace, and so much of her story has not yet been told, but still she perseveres with this vision and this promise to Heavenly Parent. So thank you, Ruth Ava. And now we're going to hear from a newly dipping her toes into the water of Women's Federation, but incredibly deep and wonderful sister, Sujin Ogden. Sujin, go ahead and share your reflection with us.
Thank you, Mrs. Kono, for sharing. And yeah, thanks for inviting me, Kaylee, to come share. I think a couple of things that stood out to me for this section, the whole speech, I read the whole speech, and it elaborated on a lot of the points that are in these couple paragraphs. And one of the things that struck me was Mother mentioned a couple of times the words like that Heavenly Parent has waited for 6,000 years. And after I read through the whole, speech, I had that sense of like, wow, like she keeps mentioning that, like God has waited for 6,000 years. And then she goes on to make the point that at this time, this was, for the dedication of the Chonwongung, and she said, the dream of Heavenly Parent has been realized in the dedication, in the dedication of the Chonwongung through true parents. And it almost felt like that sentence of God waiting for so long was being applied to that very moment, that like for that long, God has waited for that moment where through the victory of true parents, this building could be offered. So I had that sense of like, wow, like this temple is very important. And then also this sense that the time that this is in right now feels very important to Heavenly Parent. And I feel like I've heard that many times though. Like I've listened to Mother, I think since I started building a relationship with her, since like maybe 2015, not that long, but I feel like she's kind of saying it in the sense of not just history, but actually in our movement. It's a very unprecedented time because like in my own life of faith, I feel like one of the biggest challenges I'm going through is feeling like I have all the things I need, but I can't seem to like change or transform or like make the, accomplish the goals that I have. And when I read through the speech, I reflected on that point, and it just kind of hit me that like, actually, maybe this time in our movement hasn't been precedented. We haven't really, if you think about it, we haven't had access to True Mother as much as we have had now. She's like we have the full on like experience of True Mother, which we didn't have before. And so it kind of helped me realize that like the struggles I'm facing, yeah, they're kind of historical struggles, like what does it mean to build a relationship with True Mother at this time? Like to build that close relationship hasn't really been done in history, by a people, because it's all been focused on the Son. She talked about the Son coming first, Father coming first. So it just kind of like dawned on me that, okay, like, yes, I'm struggling to accomplish my goals, but it's like these struggles I'm going through, these breakthroughs that we make at this time is kind of historical in, within ourselves and also as a people and maybe for our ancestors. So that kind of was helpful for me to read. And I think at the end of the speech, she mentions a point, which is, it's not at the end of this topic, but she says like, in one of the parts of the earlier time, she asked the question of like, what hope do we have right now? And then she answers it at the very end of the speech, which says, our sole path to resolving our issues is to understand Heavenly Parent as our center, to attend Heavenly Parent as our center. And I felt like the reason why that struck me is because like, I think, a lot of us, even though we talk about unconditional love, like, I don't know how much I really understand God as my parent, fully, wholeheartedly, the depth of what it means to have my parent with me all the time. And that's what True Mother is asking us, like, can you attend Heavenly Parent? Like she talks about pride at the end of the speech, you know, Heavenly Parent as your parent, as our parent. That's God's dream. So I just feel like I'm just kind of asking myself deeper questions. You know, can I really like learn to build that as my center, my relationship with Heavenly Parent and True Parents? So those were just some of my reflections. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujin. Yeah, what you're doing for us is modeling how, you know, Mother's speeches, we can apply those in our own life and kind of like measure it against where we're at and what we need to address in ourselves to kind of resonate with Mother's spirit. But your first point about like the new age we're living in, it's unprecedented, is very interesting. So like any unsettled feelings or feeling like this isn't the way it's supposed to be, we have no idea what it's supposed to be because Mother's opened up this whole new door that we've never experienced before, which is the full heart of Heavenly Parent and the true Mother being represented on earth finally. So there's a lot of catch up we have to do in that area, which is just a very interesting point. So thank you so much, Sujin. Very insightful. We are going to go ahead and switch to our prayer time now. So Sujin, I'll ask you to offer your prayer first, and then Ruth Ava, when she's finished, you can begin your prayer, and then we'll do our unison prayer. So Sujin, whenever you're ready, please go ahead and offer your prayer.
Please join me in prayer. Dearest Heavenly Parent and True Parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, thank you so much for this opportunity that we all have had a chance to gather here together as brothers and sisters. I know that each person is, I'm sure, going through many ups and downs in their daily life, and we are dedicating this time to inviting the spirit and energy of True Mother and her words. I know that you've been longing for a long time to be able to be with us. That's been your dream since the very beginning of time. And Mother is really pioneering the space of bringing us back home to you. And so we're just so grateful to have True Mother, who never really gave up on her mission and her calling to be our mother. And I'm just so grateful we can kind of open our hearts to her, even if it's confusing or we're going through a lot of different experiences in our life. And it can feel like we can be swept away in those. So I'm just really grateful that we have this chance and this tool of reading True Mother's words, of still building this relationship with her while she's on this earth. And so I'm so grateful for this time. I ask that you can please bless every single person on this call. And thank you. Thank you for everything that you've been giving us. I report this prayer in all of our names here. And in my name, Sujin Ogden, daughter of Christopher Marie Ogden, a Sujabas family, Achu.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Parent and True Parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, we want to thank you so much for this time, 21-day condition, inspired really by you, because we know that True Parents, whenever they offered conditions, they made always special proclamations and moved the providence forward. And they really truly showed us the example of really how we can establish physically and practically the kingdom of heaven on earth. Help us truly to the things that you have already provided to us and the visions given, that we can really pursue them to the end like true parents, and never ever to yield and give up, but continue like a good leader always said, that the success comes truly when doing things continuously. And also with the bridge ceremony, we know that when truly people see that peace is possible, and we help people and we pray for each other, and with a heart of a true godly mother, we can do it. We can help each other. We can pray for each other, with each other. And because it is really truly the mother's heart and the true parental heart who can really bring this world together. That's what people really need. True Father always said that this is so much more needed than even teachers, PhDs, especially politicians. They're just not able to do what true mothers and a true motherly heart can do. Even though we have the true example in front of us, but true Father and true Mother want us not just, they don't want to just be the soul and lone stars up there, but they want us, like Jesus said, greater things than I shall you do. And we still have so many days before us to do great things, especially having Father standing on this foundation that we are standing on right now. Please, we know that so many people are prepared, and especially once we bring forth these beautiful events, you will send these people because you know who is prepared, and True Mother knows very well the foundations that we are standing on. Right now, we really want to pray, Father, for all our sisters all over America and the brothers, that they can truly, everybody can truly feel inspired through this love, through this divine love that you're really giving to everybody. And we want to thank you so much for this time, and we want to offer this prayer in the name of the Connor family, a Chombo family. Jew.
Thank you for your prayers, and we'll do our 4-minute unison prayer. So please feel free to unmute and offer your prayer at this time.
Yes.
Giving us the opportunity to be alive at this particular time of your providence for restoration. Our most precious and beloved Heavenly friends, we want to continue to connect in the hearts of our true mother. All that we have to do for you. Our most precious and beloved Heavenly friends, we know that our true mother is desperate in this particular
Thank you so much for
He
giving us
has
this
just
to come before you
gone.
together.
And turning
Can truly feel
innocent
the mother's desperate heart
you are most precious and beloved Heavenly friends,
about
Father.
building a world of peace and
God,
and giving everyone like your children parents. Truly
most I'm ever to glow,
excited to see to
the rest of the
experience.
world,
I really want
about
to
our true parents, Heavenly parents.
repent, Heavenly Father, for not having
Because
seriousness,
that
determination
was
like
say
mother.
they're
Mother
putting
has been repeating the same
our
things
world,
over and over. All
see
the
that they are
leaders
happy.
in this nation and the world.
Eternally
She's the only begotten daughter that
suffering from incredible unhappiness.
is building world
True
that
parents.
can be peace. And that's why she
Faith
has those
identify the heart
destabilizations
as
and
many ways,
things like the
but
yeah, and the church symbol
forgive us and
and
show us the
all
true
that
Father,
means to
that you
me.
truly and honestly long for us
That you
in
can
our
feel
lives.
comfortable and that you
Bless us and strengthen us
pray
and
that
show
we
us,
can
Heavenly
be
parents, true path.
united, one heart.
That you truly and honestly long
Thank Father, for as the elders
parents,
only, and that each of us
truly
demonstrate
and honestly God.
responsibility as filial piety, Heavenly Parent. I really want
Of
to
the world's
build cultures of
work
heart
international,
and secure truth everywhere
the
we
work is
go.
in love here,
And reflect
which is
upon what
having
kind of life do we want to have,
effect,
what kind of family do we want to be,
providing
what kind of person do you want us to be, how can we be
who
better each time,
live in difficult
Heavenly
circumstances
Parent.
around the world.
I really want to be able to
Thank you
speak and
so much
model an
for that work
example
of us.
to use an inspiration.
Ah,
We could be the vessels
example for the
of
rest of the
love
world.
and your spirit and truth. Parent.
How?
Yes,
Lives of
never
men,
giving up on humanity.
families,
Thank you so much, Heavenly
to their husbands,
Give unconditional love, unconditional giving. We really
human
want to
fall,
because the conditions
a
we have
mother,
to be
original mother
be
Eve,
very conditions.
giving to the
Only
unprincipled
one day
desire of the agriculture. And restoration, women has to be at the center. Obedience at the center of that.
Really want to offer
Truly and honestly want to pray.
what did he say?
Guide us, shower us towards the true path that you truly and honestly long for us to follow with our life.
Thank you so much.
Heavenly parents, we are so deeply sorry. Really want to pray, repent,
Holy Spirit, please
ask
descend
for
upon
forgiveness.
Aju. Thank you for such passionate and sincere prayers tonight. I think, what comes up for me is this area of prayer, especially prayer in Chunshimon, is Reverend Dunkley's focus at this time for America. And I'm just reminded about how powerful it is to come together and pray, even virtually, right? Coming together to pray. This is the starting point for all of it. Unless we have the sincere prayer and breakthrough, then the change can't happen and the results can't happen. So thank you so much for making space for this kind of sincere prayer each night, and really looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow night. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
God bless you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.